According to General Hospital teasers, Jocelyn Jack's WSB secret might be revealed by Jason Morgan. Will there be a shocking conclusion to Jason's involvement in Professor Henry Hank Dalton's investigation? Anna Devane is excited to find out more about Professor Dalton's study, and whatever is happening in his lab, because she is certain that he is working on something risky. Emma Scorpio Drake's interest in Professor Dalton clearly reveals a protective and inquisitive side to Anna. Another part of Anna, meanwhile, feels adamant that she is correct, and wants to reveal Dalton's illicit actions. In the June 5th episode, Anna will ask Jason for assistance because of this. Generally speaking, Jason doesn't turn down an assignment, especially when a friend like Anna asks. Jason is likely to agree to work with Anna, which could lead to some significant discoveries in the near future. Fans of GH are aware that Dalton's most recent research has been funded by Jen Sidwell, which is even another compelling cause for Anna and Jason to conduct further investigation. Naturally, since Jocelyn is also looking into Dalton's work for the WSB, it's simple to see how their missions could conflict with Jason and Anna's. Jocelyn was recruited by Jack Brennan, who concealed the time she spent training by fabricating a trip to Easter Island. It's possible that Jason's initial suspicion of Jocelyn's false story was setting the stage for what was to come. Jason may obstruct Jocelyn's path and jeopardize her own purpose, as he assists Anna in investigating what Dalton is actually up to. That might raise suspicions and ultimately cause Jason to discover that Jocelyn joined the WSB. Jocelyn might be desperate to silence Jason if he manages to get his hands on her secret agent surprise. Will Jocelyn wind up pleading with Jason to keep this a secret from Carly Spencer and other people? According to General Hospital spoilers, Jason and Anna's collaboration may cause Jocelyn some problems, so we'll keep you informed of any startling developments. For the first time this summer, the Metro Court pool is open. Emma, Kai, and Trina got together by the pool to unwind. Jocelyn joined the group for a short time before noticing Professor Dalton and stating that she had to go to work. Trina stood up for Jocelyn's morals when Emma told her, "I know that Joss is your friend and can do no wrong in your eyes, but your bestie sabotaged me and then stole a job that was practically mine for herself." Jordan Ashford and Jen Sidwell were already on the other side of the pool, joining Professor Henry Dalton. When Jordan first met Dalton, it was immediately apparent that Sidwell had known him for a while. Jordan was informed by Sidwell that Dalton was working on innovative projects at the university that would have a profound impact on the globe. Dalton is extremely appreciative of Sidwell for providing support for his studies. Jocelyn approached the professor to inform him that she had sent in his grant submission on his behalf, and he introduced her to Jen Sidwell, his good friend and colleague, who invited her to join them. Sidwell inquired about Jocelyn's satisfaction with her job at Dalton. Dalton praised her and claimed that his thorough screening process had not shocked him. He claimed to have learnt the hard way that he needed to locate people he could be quite confident he could trust, which is why he had such a strict procedure. Dalton later disclosed that he had been working on a clean engine development technique. When Jocelyn and Sidwell finally left, Jordan had an opportunity to speak with Dalton. He was evasive in his responses, stating, "I don't want my work subject to public scrutiny until it's complete." Emma looked back to give the professor a menacing look as she joined Kai and Trina in the pool. Everyone gathered outside the courtroom at the courthouse. Carly was reminded by Jason to remain composed. Even if it meant being polite, she promised to do whatever it took to get her grandkids away from Willow. Tracy approached Drew directly and said, "Oh Drew, I'm so sorry, I'm fresh out of ketamine. You'll need to visit your neighborhood veterinarian," she said, giving him a shoulder pat before leaving. Diane interrupted Michael and Jason before they entered the courtroom after overhearing Drew tell Rick that they were counting on him to remind the judge that Michael is not an altar boy. She said she was not going to put Jason on the stand because she was worried it might be used against Michael. In order to prevent Jason from being used against Michael in any manner, Diane advised him to keep his distance. "It's not about Willow," Jason told Michael in his parting words. "You must keep the children away from Drew since it is about them. Remember that you're a wonderful father, and that your children depend on you." Jason departed to go to Sunny's residence. Before everything started, Rick went outside to contact Alexis and inform her that her daughter Christina, who is impetuous and unpredictable, was scheduled to testify. Evidently concerned that Christina's testimony would undermine his argument, Rick promised to have a bad experience if she testified. To pick up Christina, Alexis went to the courts. Alexis grabbed Christina away and shouted, "I'm getting you out of here before you get us both thrown in prison." Dante watched with suspicion. As the trial started, there were intense looks back and forth between the parties. First was Carly. In her testimony, she discussed Willow and Nina's attempt to take the kids to the Christmas party without Michael's knowledge. According to her testimony, Michael ultimately consented to let the children go that evening after learning about it. Carly remarked, "It was devastating for Michael, but he realized that Wiley and Amelia's welfare came first." The next person to testify was Chase, who had to acknowledge that Willow had betrayed him. Diane reminded everyone that Willow was the one who was married to Chase after Rick was duped by having Chase testify that she had cheated on him with Michael. Drew reprimanded Rick for not doing enough over the break. With a knowing look at Nina, Rick reassured him that he shouldn't be concerned, saying, "Diane is just retreading old territory, whereas we have new and compelling evidence to offer." Dante told Carly, Diane, and Michael that Christina had gone out with Alexis. Diane stated that they require a witness to attest to Willow's concealment of Michael's family from him throughout his stay in the burn unit. Michael claimed to know who was qualified to testify. When Carly texts her to make sure to stay cool, it turns out to be Jocelyn. Rick asks Dante to speak on the stand on Michael's conviction for involuntary manslaughter in connection with the death of Claudia Zaccara. Diane explained the situation to Dante as they passed. It was Tracy Quartermain who testified. She portrayed Drew as envious of what Michael possesses and asserted that Michael is the future of the family. Rick attempted to discredit Tracy by using the kidnapping claims against her. "I did my job," Tracy informed Diane after she departed. "Don't forget to complete yours." Jocelyn went into the courtroom to testify next. She testified that Willow had harmed Michael's family by using his medical proxy. She maintained her composure as Rick attempted to misrepresent her, but it appeared that she would struggle to do so. "Come on, Jocelyn, don't fall for the trick," Carly said at the conclusion. Marco tried his best to alert Alexis to the Dolos Fund's appearance as a shell company earlier at the Davis and Miller legal office. Alexis made an effort to reassure him that everything would be all right and that it was legitimate. If necessary, he volunteered to assist her in avoiding personal danger. Later, Christina, who was obviously annoyed by the scenario, accompanied Alexis back to her office. She asked Alexis with frustration, "So that's how it's going to be now? When Rick says to leap, will you say how high?" Alexis retorted sharply, "You attempted to murder someone, Christina. Instead, you nearly killed 2 other people. So you can't be choosy about how I hide it when that occurs. All right?" Dante visited Sonny at his home before heading to the courthouse, and he apologized for not dealing with the fact that Sonny was his father all those years ago. He bemoaned to Sonny that he didn't know how to feel or what to do in a comparable circumstance now. "The important thing right now is that you have a son and he's hurting," Sonny reassured Dante, adding that he was confident he and Gio could work things out. Sonny did not accompany Dante to the courts since it might have harmed Michael's case. Jason joined Sonny at his home after leaving the courthouse for the same reason. They talked about Gio and Michael. Sonny stated that although he disagreed with Lois' actions, he still supported their friendship. He claimed that it was difficult to witness Gio shatter his violin because he thought Gio would vent his rage on himself. Sonny doesn't want it for his grandchild since he understands what it's like. After being ejected by Brooke Lynn at the Quartermains, Lois paid Sonny a visit before returning to Bensonhurst. Since Gio has no one watching out for him, she confided in Sonny that she worries about him. Sonny promised to keep an eye on him. Tensions were just as high in the Quartermain kitchen as they were in the courtroom. Gio arrived to confront Brooke Lynn, Gloria, and Lois. "This isn't my home," he told them, adding, "and none of you are my family." Gio was informed by Brooke Lynn that although she had placed him for adoption, she was unaware that Gio was her son. Gio only sensed that she was not interested in him. Gio was unable to see through Gloria's insistence that they acted in Joe's best interests. Additionally, it was disclosed that Lois and Gloria had a conversation with Camila when she was in hospice care, maybe persuading her that it would be best to keep Gio in the dark. Camila agreed with them when they insisted that was not how it happened. Gloria said, "And Gio, if Camila had wanted to use her last breath to tell you the truth, We would have worked things out. Lois, who seemed weary of being assaulted, remarked bluntly, "You know what, Brooklyn, if you had wanted to keep Gio, we wouldn't have stopped you." Eventually, Brooklyn ordered Glories and Lois to leave. She assured Lois that she would send her belongings to Bensonhurst and advised her not to even bother packing. "I understand that they lied to us both, but the truth is that none of you wanted me," Gio remarked, glancing at Brooklyn. "It's a mutual feeling," he said, and left. As Jason Morgan became embroiled in yet another high-stakes mystery that threatened to shatter the tenuous relationship between him and Jocelyn Jacks, the tension in Port Charles had reached a breaking point. An ordinary investigation into the dubious operations of the now-defunct Aurora Media had devolved into something much more sinister. Jason became increasingly aware that Jocelyn was more than just a college student caught in the crossfire. She was an active participant in a game that could kill her. And the most startling aspect? She was employed by the WSB. Like her mother, Carly, Jason had always known Jocelyn was a bit of a brat. However, this was not like the others. This was a deliberate action that revealed she had been working in the background for much longer than anyone had thought. It wasn't just adolescent rebellion or a hasty attempt to establish herself. The mysterious phone calls, the abrupt disappearances, and the way she constantly appeared to know things she shouldn't were all subtle but unmistakable indicators. Jason had initially written it off as paranoia, but he was forced to face the reality after Dex Heller alerted him to odd encrypted texts connected to Jocelyn's phone. The realization was like a kick to the stomach. Jocelyn had somehow been recruited by the WSB, the same group that had deceived, exploited, and manipulated so many individuals throughout his life. How? When? More importantly, why? Though he couldn't be certain, Jason's gut told him that this had something to do with the ongoing inquiry into Victor Cassidy's remains. It was necessary to face Jocelyn head-on in order to obtain answers, even if doing so put their relationship at peril. At the same time, the PCPD was nearing the conclusion of the Dalton investigation, a case that had occupied them for months. With connections to global espionage and the reappearance of old adversaries, what had once appeared to be a simple business fraud case had taken on a far darker tone. Even Dante Falconeri, who had been spearheading the effort, had not foreseen the impending bombshell. Jason was trying to piece together Jocelyn's connection to the WSB, when Dante got an anonymous tip that completely changed the course of events. The evidence suggested that there was a mole in the PCPD, who had been providing the opposition with information. The ramifications were astounding. No one, not even those closest to the case, could be trusted if there was a traitor in the police force. As he contemplated the alternatives, Dante's thoughts were racing. Were some leads cold because of this? Why had important witnesses vanished out of thin air? Given that Jason discovered Jocelyn's secret at the same moment, the timing couldn't be coincidental. Was there a connection between the two cases? Or was this just more dishonesty in a city founded on falsehoods? Jason prepared for the encounter as he followed Jocelyn to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. Her face changed from surprise to resignation at the sight of him. The jig was up, she knew. How much time? Jason's voice was quiet but tinged with anger as he requested. After a moment of hesitation, Jocelyn straightened her shoulders. Enough time. His ire was only heightened by the evasive response. You and the WSB are collaborating. How risky is it, do you know? I know exactly what I'm doing, she retorted, her eyes blazing with fury. Jason, this is not a game. You don't grasp the greater things that are happening. Then tell me about it, he said. Because all I see right now is Carly's daughter risking her life for a cause that doesn't give a damn about her life or death. Jocelyn's mouth clenched. You're not getting it. I had no other option. He paused at that. You didn't have an option? What do you mean? The sound of approaching footsteps reverberated throughout the warehouse before she could respond. Jason reached for his firearm in an instinctive gesture to protect Jocelyn. However, in the conventional sense, the person who emerged from the shadows wasn't an enemy. Anna Devane was the one. Her presence validated Jason's worst suspicions. This was more significant than he had anticipated if Anna was involved. With a somber tone, Anna stated, It's time you both heard the truth. Because none of us will survive what's coming if we don't take action now. The PCPD mole, Jocelyn's secret, and the Dalton probe were all related. and Port Charles would be permanently altered by the shockwave of the impending revelation. According to Thursday, June 5 General Hospital spoilers, Marshall Ashford will return to GH while Willow Corinthos will step in to save the day. Fans will watch what happens next when Jack Brennan warns Jocelyn Jacks. Let's start by discussing the recent courtroom bombshell that was initiated by Rick Lansing. Viewers will witness the fallout from Sasha Corbin's shocking disclosure that Michael Corinthos was the father of her unborn child. Sasha will become irritated on the stand as Rick keeps asking her questions. When Sasha screams in agony and thinks she's about to go into labor, things will become worse. When Michael notices that the baby appears to be arriving soon, he will be critical of Rick for his treatment of Sasha during her pregnancy and his concern. Michael will rush to Sasha, but he isn't the best guy in that courtroom to assist her. If Willow needs to deliver the baby or at least assist Sasha until paramedics arrive, her experience as a nurse may be useful. In any case, Willow will react quickly during Thursday's performance, which most likely indicates that she will save Sasha. Carly Spencer will understand that Nina Reeves had to have looked into and updated Rick on Sasha's baby daddy news outside of the courtroom. Carly will expose Nina as the mastermind behind Drew Kane's drugging incident, since one covert revelation is worth another. Curtis Ashford and Portia Robinson will host a lively family celebration in the interim. In order to celebrate Marshall's homecoming and spend time with their loved ones, Portia and Curtis will temporarily put their Drew problem on hold. Although Elizabeth Baldwin's rejection of Lucky Spencer's marriage proposal will disappoint him in the park, neither she nor he are prepared for such a commitment. Lucky will question whether Elizabeth is completely dismissing the possibility of getting married again, or whether she might have second thoughts. The greater problem, though, is Liz's lack of confidence in Lucky's capacity to be a happy family man. We're discussing Luke Spencer's son, who is accustomed to going on exciting adventures and saving the day in remote locations. Lucky may have persuaded himself that he can live a contented life in Port Charles with nothing, but Liz won't be so certain. Lucky might not be sure of that either after giving it some serious thought. Regarding Anna Devane's theory about Professor Henry Hank Dalton, she would like to collaborate with Jason Morgan. Anna hopes Jason will assist her in proving her suspicions that something hazardous is occurring in Professor Dalton's lab. Brennan will give her a severe warning over with Jocelyn. Now that Vaughn has agreed to deal with their Anna problem, Brennan won't want Jocelyn getting involved, but Joss might still become entangled in the drama. Maxie Jones and Sonny Corinthos will also have a heart-to-heart, according to General Hospital teasers, so Thursday's action-packed episode has a lot to offer. The most recent developments have left fans on the edge of their seats, and the drama in Port Charles never seems to calm down. The stakes have never been higher, with Marshall finally returning to General Hospital, Brennan giving Jocelyn a terrifying warning, and Willow taking on an unexpected new role. Character dynamics are altered and dramatic confrontations are set up in each of these narratives, which carry emotional weight. Willow's brave action. Although Willow Corinthos has always been known for her compassion and tenacity, recent circumstances have forced her to explore new ground. When a crisis threatens someone she loves, she acts bravely, demonstrating that she is a powerful woman who is more than just a loving wife or a kind teacher. Willow's resolve is evident whether she is confronting a formidable foe or giving something up. From a lady who struggled with her identity to someone who boldly assumes leadership roles when necessary, her journey has been one of personal development. Her connections, especially with Michael, may be put to the test by this recent development. Although they have always presented a united front, if Michael disagrees with Willow's choices, it could cause conflict. Will this cause a rift between them, or will he support her? Her acts might also attract the notice of other important Port Charles actors, some of whom might view her as a threat or an ally. The return of Marshall upends everything. Many fans have eagerly anticipating Marshall Ashford's return to General Hospital. He was a calming factor at the hospital, and his absence created a gap not only for his family but also for the hospital itself. Everyone is wondering what draws him home now that he's returned. Is it a personal dilemma, a work-related duty, or something else entirely? His son, Curtis, and the rest of the Ashford family will surely be greatly impacted by his return. Curtis's personal journey has been greatly influenced by Marshall's prior battles with mental health and family secrets, and his return may either rehash old scars or present a chance for healing. New tensions could also arise. particularly if Marshall's reappearance is connected to an unsolved threat. In addition to domestic conflict, Marshall's medical knowledge can be vital in a continuing GH crisis. His abilities might be needed to save a life, or reveal a fatal secret, because the hospital is frequently at the epicenter of Port Charles's worst tragedies. Jocelyn's dangerous warning from Brennan. Brennan's most recent warning may be Jocelyn Jack's most perilous challenge to date, but she has never been one to back down from a fight. Jocelyn is clearly in Brennan's sights, a man with a history of brutality and dubious relationships. Brennan perceives her as a threat, whether because of her relationship with Dex, the influence of her family, or her own bravery. He is not the kind to make baseless threats. Jocelyn is put in grave danger by this encounter, and is forced to rely on her gut, and the one she can trust the most. If Brennan's warning is connected to their common past, Dex will probably become further involved in the fight. Whether Jocelyn wants them to or not, her parents, Carly and Jax, might potentially become involved. Will Jocelyn outwit Brennan before it's too late? Or will her disobedience put her in even more danger? Larger concerns regarding Port Charles's criminal underbelly are also brought up by Brennan's involvement. Is he employed by a bigger company or is he operating alone? Before the truth is revealed, a number of individuals may be drawn in by his grudge toward Jocelyn, which may be the beginning of something far darker. Connected tales, devastating outcomes. Despite their differences, these three plotlines are all woven into Port Charles's greater narrative. The town as a whole may be affected in unanticipated ways by the intersection of Brennan's threat against Jocelyn, Marshall's return, and Willow's bravery. For example, Willow might become involved in Jocelyn's battle if her actions placed her in Brennan's way. Alternately, if Brennan's plans cause harm to anyone. In conclusion, high-stakes drama, emotional depth, and exciting suspense are all promised by the most recent developments on General Hospital. Brennan's lethal warning to Jocelyn, Marshall's surprise reappearance, and Willow's brave defiance are only the beginning. Viewers won't want to miss a second of the crazy trip that the people of Port Charles are in for, with so much on the line. Back at the Metro Court, Nina watched Carly leave with a satisfied smirk, but her triumph was short-lived. A shadow fell over her, and she turned to see Valentine Cassadine standing behind her, his expression unreadable. Valentine leaned in, his voice barely above a whisper. "You've been playing a dangerous game, my dear. And if you're not careful, you'll lose everything." Before Nina could respond, he straightened and walked away, leaving her staring after him with a growing sense of dread. As the night deepened, the lives of Port Charles's residents intertwined in a web of deception, danger, and desperation. Carly's accusations against Nina were only the beginning. Jason's mission would test his limits, and Sasha's labor pains signaled a life-changing event that would leave no one untouched. And somewhere in the shadows, unseen forces were at work, ensuring that the coming days would bring revelations no one was prepared for. The General Hospital recap for Thursday, May 29th, shows that Willow Corinthos received Michael Corinthos' breakup ultimatum, while Drew Kane stole Lila Quartermain's ring. Let's talk about how Thursday's GH excitement played out. Dante Falconeri arrived at Lulu Spencer's apartment to confront her about her investigation into his biological kid, assuming she had told Giovanni Gio Palmieri the truth. Lulu said that Gio had most likely overheard her argument with Lois Cerullo, and Dante grumbled about Lulu exacerbating the situation. Dante thought Lulu should have told him he had another child, especially since she suspected it was Gio. Dante suspected that Lulu's petty rivalry with Brooke Lynn had motivated everything, but Lulu denied it and assured Dante that a romantic reunion was not her motivation either. In fact, Lulu didn't want Dante back and suggested they stick to co-parenting. Lulu didn't even require them to be friends, so Dante understood. Dante made it obvious that he would be the one to inform Rocco Falconeri about his sibling. After Dante urged Lulu to keep away from Gio, he rushed off, leaving Lulu to mourn alone. Brooke Lynn Quartermain apologized to Ned Quartermain for not informing him about the baby, but he understood and promised her that Gio would ultimately come around. Olivia Quartermain also spoke with Brooke Lynn, assuring her that she understood what it was like to be young, pregnant, and afraid. Tracy Quartermain spoke with Olivia and finally, Ned about the Gio problem. Tracy said that she recently discovered Brooke Lynn had a kid, but she had no idea it was Gio until tonight. Gio yelled at Emma Scorpio Drake on the footbridge because he didn't need a babysitter, but he eventually calmed down and understood he should be grateful for her help. Emma refused to leave Gio alone and wanted to accompany him wherever he went, so they made arrangements to get away from all of his family problems. Jason Morgan thanked Sasha Corbin for accompanying him to pick up Amelia Corinthos and promised her that he would still be there for her. Michael's reappearance would not affect anything. Sasha felt a little hypocritical for assisting Michael in removing the children from Willow, when she had no intention of allowing him to raise their own child. CODY then came, shocking Sasha with news of the Gio turmoil. CODY felt awful about his role and how it all happened, but Sasha thought he was being too hard on himself. Sasha did, however, indicate that it was a useful lesson in respecting parents' decisions in tricky situations like this one. Willow pressed Michael at Carly Spencer's house to let her say goodnight to the kids, but he refused, believing they no longer belonged with their mother. Michael indicated that he would pursue full custody of the children, but Willow may still visit them if she ended her connection with Drew. Michael was only willing to bargain if Willow left Drew's residence and cut off all contact with him. Willow thought Michael was being cruel about her happiness, but he held firm on doing what was best for Amelia and Wiley Corinthos. Michael believed Willow had to choose between Drew and her children. Willow was very upset as Michael slammed the door in her face. Michael reconnected with Jason and provided updates on his conversation with Willow. Jason wondered if there was any chance for compromise, but Michael vowed that the custody battle would proceed as long as Willow was with Drew. There was also some discussion regarding Sasha being called to testify, and the paternity secret that was kept hidden. In an ideal world, Michael acknowledged that he would like to be the father of Sasha's child. Willow informed Drew in the car about Michael's refusal to allow her see the children, admitting that if Michael had his way, she might never see them again. Willow pointed out that Michael was only prepared to let her visit Wiley and Amelia if she ended things with Drew. Although Willow seemed tempted to accept Michael's ultimatum, Drew maintained she couldn't trust Michael to keep his part of the bargain. Willow agreed with Drew, stating that Michael had turned vicious and was no longer the man she knew. Willow intended to return her wedding band and engagement ring to Michael in the morning once she had removed them. Drew requested that they save Lila's ring and give it to Amelia eventually. Willow remained concerned about the custody battle, but Drew provided plenty reassurance. Drew stated that Michael wasn't completely clean, so they just needed to find out what he was hiding and use it against him. According to General Hospital spoilers, the custody situation is likely to worsen, so stay tuned. Or even realized he was my son. When Ma proposed Camilla, I was too selfish to say no, Lois acknowledged. I was terrified to send your kid out into the world. This way I could check on him and make sure he was okay. Brooke Lynn then made the ultimate point. Gio was not fine when Camilla died. I was an adult when that occurred. Why didn't you tell me then? Brooke Lynn inquired. Lois stated that she didn't want to add to Joe's confusion, and she also wanted Brooke Lynn to be free. If Brooke Lynn had known about Gio, she might not have met Chase. But Gio was my son, and your decisions deprived me of the opportunity to make my own choices for him. And now that he's an adult, I'll never get that chance again, Brooke Lynn cried. My kid refuses to talk to me. I can't help him with his identity dilemma because he doesn't trust me. You destroyed everything he ever believed about family and he now has no one. Gio will never talk to me again, and I do not want to talk to you again. Just then, Gloria arrived from nowhere to chastise Brooke Lynn. Hey, don't you ever talk to your mother like that, Gloria said. You want to have it out with someone, young lady, you have it out with me. Carly entered Curtis' office and explained Willow and Drew's legal strategy, which involved accusing a man in a burn clinic of abandoning his children. It would be very helpful if Aurora Media could remind the people that